Cayman, no Cayman, Cayman right.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Brought to you by the Health Services Authority. Caring people, quality service. Visit hsa.ky.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. 2 locations, Governor Square and Grand Harbor. Refill and transfer prescriptions online. Call 947-8900 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky. Also brought to you by Cayman Medical Center, Cayman's most awarded private medical clinic.
And UHealth, International University of Miami.
World-class healthcare in the heart of Miami.
The Light Room, your holistic sanctuary for physical and mental restoration, repair, and rejuvenation. The power that made the body heals the body. 38 Pasadora Place, Georgetown. Find us online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
When I first started going to Healthcare Pharmacy, it was because it was convenient. But over the years, I continued to shop there because I trusted them. One day I was picking up my prescription, and the pharmacist noticed an over-the-counter medication in my basket. She said, "I hope that's not yours. It will interact with your prescription." And I thought, wow, thank you. Trust is so important when it comes to your health. Healthcare Pharmacy with 2 locations, Grand Harbor and Governor Square, where they care about my health.
There's nothing more important than your health, and seeking expert healthcare with physicians you can trust is what you deserve. UHealth, the University of Miami Health System, offers peace of mind to you and your family with a first-class experience. Our patient coordinators assist with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. As South Florida's only academic-based health system, UHealth offers cutting-edge treatment, compassionate care, and life-changing results just a flight away. Learn more at umiamihealth.org/international.
Attention HR managers and business leaders. Want to boost productivity, reduce absenteeism, and show your team that their well-being matters? The Lightroom now offers custom corporate memberships designed to enhance energy and mental clarity, reduce stress, and improve overall health, creating a healthier, more focused workforce. Invest in your team's well-being because a thriving team leads to a thriving business. Visit thelightroom.ky to learn more. It's a new era in wellness.
Hello and welcome to For the Health of It. I'll be interviewing Lindbergh Eden. He is the Cancer Sucks guy, or you might know him better as DJ Lynn. Hello and welcome to For the Health of It.
Hello, Tara. Thank you. And it's good to be back here again to speak to you and your audience about the situations that I've dealt with and, what's happening with me currently.
So I guess let's start with your original diagnosis so people can get some background and then move into what happened.
Okay, for those who aren't aware, back in 2020, I was diagnosed with stage 4 adrenal carcinoma, which is basically I had a 5-pound tumor in my adrenal glands, which was removed along with a kidney, adrenal glands, and part of my liver. And it took like a year to recover. And as soon as I got back from the surgery was when COVID hit. So, that allowed me a little bit of time to recover as well. In 2022, I had to do follow-up with radiation treatment. So I had 5 rounds of radiation in July of 2022. And in December of 2023, once again, I had a radiation treatment because the cancer had come back in the form of small tumors. And 2024 is where my latest stint took place, in which in October of 2024, I had to undergo surgery once again to remove 3 tumors from me at the University of Miami Hospital. And it ended up being a 7-month stint, which I didn't expect at the time because I was expecting, perhaps it would be surgery and then, I'd be back home within a month or 2. But unfortunately, things didn't pan out that way.
So the cancer went where this time?
Okay, so there's different areas. Where it was located was a place called the duodenum. What had happened was the tumor had pierced through the duodenum and was causing blood to leak inside. So I was having internal bleeding, and I didn't know at the time. So once we found that out, I trust my doctors and always have to say, well, you know what, this is the steps that we're going to take, and we move forward with it. So they ended up on October 17th performing surgery on me, removing 3 of 4 tumors. The 4th one was actually dormant or benign as a result of radiation treatment, which I had previously.
Were there any symptoms that, or these just came up in your regular checkups?
All right. So in this case, what happened was, and, I have to say this just, to be candid, but I ended up having black tarry stool, and I wasn't sure what that was. So that is where the internal bleeding was letting me know that something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
So I spoke with my doctor, and he said, go to the emergency room right away. And at this time, I was actually in London playing music. And so instead of actually going to play music, I had to go to the emergency room in a strange country to try to figure out what was going on with me, not knowing what I would have to pay, or, it was just kind of like a surreal kind of feeling. It's like, do I go play music or do I go to the hospital? So I took my doctor's advice, went straight to the emergency room in London, and, they ended up keeping me there for 2 days to help stop the internal bleeding, and which then I had to fly back home, spend a couple hours with my dogs, head straight to the emergency room once again.
In Cayman this time?
In Cayman, correct.
What were you feeling?
I would say it's almost like, what now? Why me again? How come I have to go through this? It's almost kind of like a self-reflection. It's like, oh, great, what's next, So it's kind of like a mental struggle you have with yourself. It's like, you don't know if you should be going further, continuing with, surgeries, operations and stuff like this, or just say, screw it.
What keeps you from saying screw it?
It's many times when I have said that. I'm just a strong-minded individual, and I'm very close with family. So I have a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, and I have a few family members and friends that are very positive and inspirational to me, and remind me that I am strong. And then I almost feel like I'm not just doing it for myself, but I'm doing it for them. I need to be an example for them. When my mom passed away in 2019, she showed me what true strength was like in terms of, being brave. And she never made me feel like she had any fear when it came to death or anything like that. And, I admired that from her. So I'd like to, use that as a tool in which I can reflect and show my family and show friends that, you can make a difference. You just have to believe.
Do you believe in God?
I certainly do. And I relied heavily on prayer, thoughts, and self-reflection while I was in the hospital.
Now let's get to the 7 months.
Yeah.
So you were here and you went to the emergency room.
Yeah, so I had to actually be air ambulance from here. It's kind of a long, weird story. The hospital that did my initial surgery was University of Miami Hospital. However, at the time, there was no rooms available for the hospital to take me. There was a storm going on in Florida, which people had fled from Tampa down to Miami. And I guess possibly some of the hospitals as well. Patients had moved down. And so I thought I was going to actually have my surgery at Cleveland Clinic. Now, my case was very complex, and I guess they looked at the records and stuff like that, and they were like, we prefer if you actually went back to University of Miami Hospital. So I'm up there with my wife now, probably a week and a half. I feel a little bit confused. It's like, we got up here, I'm having internal bleeding, so what is next?
I mean, you were air ambulanced, right?
Right, and I was air ambulance. So do I have to go back home and go through the insurance process again in order to get back to the University of Miami Hospital? Luckily, I called my doctor, Dr. Chad Rich, who was one of the first doctors who performed the surgery on me. And he said, Lynn, hold on. I'm going to sort out something for you. Call me back the next day. All right, we have a room for you. And, luckily, They were able to fit me in, find a place for me, which would be my home for, not knowing at the time, but 7 months. But initially, I had a surgery on October 17th with Dr. Merchant and his crew. He had 4 or 5 other doctors assisting them. Amazing doctors. And so they performed the surgery on me on October 17th. Now, one of the complications we didn't know at the time, because I was kind of recovering, but I didn't feel good. It's like I was eating some food, but I just didn't feel right. But so this was like around November now. Came back to Cayman.
Okay.
Spent 2 days at home and had to go back to the emergency room again. Now, what was happening was, and I didn't know it at the time, apparently my small intestine had a leak. And basically, I was leaking some stuff inside. And what that allowed me to do, or what it forced me to do, was throw up this green stuff called bile.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very dark, strong scent. The doctor right away is like, something's not right here, so we have to get you on this thing called TPN. So basically, TPN is something like that allows you to get the nutrients you need without giving you food, because the food and drink and stuff was forcing me to throw up.
Right.
So they want to prevent me from throwing up. So I spent a week here in Cayman and I had to be air ambulance once again. Back to Miami.
What were you feeling?
Once again, it was like, what next? It's kind of it's like you're back against the wall. It's like I had the surgery. They had to open up my stomach, remove 3 tumors, and that was a lot of physical, mental pain, because they do not only your stomach, but they put this thing down your throat called an NG tube. And if you're not familiar with that, it's a tube to basically kind of like pump the stomach, I guess, to make sure that I guess certain fluids or liquids or doesn't set in your stomach. And that was very difficult. But all in all, like I said, it was just it's kind of surreal feeling. It's like, okay, what is next?
So at this point, you're looking at more problems. In fact, you can't eat now. You're on a liquid diet.
Yeah, this TPN, which is kind of amazing that technology has gotten to the way it has now. Because if this was 20 years ago, maybe I wouldn't be alive today.
Right.
But they put me on this liquid nourishment, whatever it is, called TPN. And for 4 months, I didn't eat any food. I didn't drink any water.
How do you feel? That sounds so surreal to me. Like,
right.
I would rather give up or something.
It's not like 4 days or 4 weeks, 4 months. It's kind of surreal feeling, because it's like, okay, I know I like food.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about that. But I'm too full to eat. So it's like this constant struggle mentally. And one of the ways I dealt with it was watching YouTube channels of other people eating food.
Okay.
So it was like, I used that as a, like a nourishment. Maybe perhaps I was picturing myself eating the food, even though I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But for 16 hours a day, I had to be on this bag of TPN, so which they have to create a new bag each and every day, because things in your body change. So the amount of sugar, the amount of everything changes, right, day to day. So they draw your blood in the morning. They look at that and they say, all right, based on the results of this is what he needs to keep alive.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can't eat. People are keeping you alive by, is it in a drip?
Yeah, it's kind of like a drip form. So like I said, 16 hours of IV fluids that I had to do. So basically, I had 8 hours of freedom in which I had to walk when I could, because there was several times throughout this process in which it was difficult to walk. In fact, I had to learn how to walk like 2 or 3 times, because the surgeries were so difficult and everything was just very heavy.
Again, what kept you going at this point?
Little small things. messages from my daughter, my wife coming to visit me, my cousin Joni coming up and, you know, being a part of my experience, having friends like Keith and Justin and Robin and Scatta and family from Boston flew in. So a little bit of everything helped. So you have little things that help push you forward. And there are days where you do feel like quitting. There are days where you feel like you can't move on, you can't move forward. And sometimes you need a swift kick in the butt from a nurse, which happened to me, because it was like, my nurse was like, hey man, you know, you can't be just sitting here like this. You got to get up, you got to get moving. And then it was like, my will to prove them wrong is like, all right, you know what? My will to prove you wrong is going to force me out of this bed, force me the right direction, make sure that I take the medication that I need, or even avoid taking certain medications. Because when you're in a situation in a hospital, you're experiencing a lot of pain. And one of the things is doctors try to avoid is having people addicted to certain medication. And it's very easy, I would say, to get addicted to this, because you want nothing more than to have the pain be taken away, have it gone. And as a result, it's like, okay, do I cheat the system and say I'm in pain and ask for Dilaudid, which is a pain medication?
Mm-hmm.
Do I ask for, you know, so little things like that, you know, you have to battle with. And too much of the medication will stop you from healing. So you have to be mindful of that as well. So in certain situations, you have to deal with the pain. You have to basically fight for your life. So, and on several occasions, I had to find that with myself. Because like I said, you know, it's easy to get sucked into just press the button and have the pain go away.
I mean, was there a day when you realized, if I don't change, I'm not going to walk out of here, or I'm going to be carried out, so to speak?
Yeah, it's funny because when I first went up to the hospital, one of the first things I ran into was a person being carried out. And I said I don't want to come back as cargo. So I said I want to be able to walk on a plane and, you know, come back home where I'm happy, where I'm comfortable, where I'm loved. And, you know, much respect, of course, to the amazing nurses and doctors up there, because they were more than just nurses. They were more than just doctors. I had spent so much time with them. It was like their family, because while people are spending Christmas back home, you know, I had to spend Christmas with nurses, you know. And it's funny because, you know, you put little deadlines on yourself and you don't even realize it. Because like I said, Christmas was one of those. I was like, hopefully I can make it home for Christmas. Hopefully I can set up the lights on the Christmas tree. Hopefully I can have dinner with the wife and the kids. Unfortunately, that wasn't in my cards. So then I had to say, you know what? Next year, we're going to have a double Christmas. I just have to push forward and get through this part. So I always had this forward thinking about where I'm at and where I want to be. And, you know, the doctor said that I beat the odds not once but twice.
Okay. Want to explain that?
Yeah, because the surgery I had in 2020, you know, like I said, it was a 5-pound tumor.
5 pounds. That's a lot, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, most people find out about this kind of illness that I have when they're dead, because it's such a rare cancer to have that it's hard to find. It's hard to detect. So in 2020, after that surgery, plus the radiation treatments, and now again in 2024, removing 3 tumors. Yeah, the doctor's like, you know, you're special.
And okay, you get to the 4-month mark and you can eat again.
Yep. So unfortunately, one of the things is you have to eat hospital food.
Sorry.
And
I laugh.
it's true. But, you know, the thing is they prepare the food very bland because they want to make sure that, you know, they don't give people high blood pressure or cause other sicknesses or illnesses. So if you get chicken, you get chicken and nothing else. You know, if you get, you know, mashed potato, you don't probably get the butter. You know, So everything was very bland. And when I first started eating and stuff like that, I had like fruits like bananas and stuff like that. They had something called a bread diet. So it was like certain very plain stuff that you could eat. When I, like I said, so when I went in, I was 222 pounds. So by this time now, time for me to eat again, I'm down to 175. So food at this time now, like my taste buds have changed. So what is kind of greasy before is extremely greasy now.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn how to eat food all over again.
Were you craving, like, I want a McDonald's burger, and then you get it and you're like,
yeah, oh jeez, oxtail.
Oh my God, there's nothing more greasier than that.
Nothing more greasy, but boy, I was craving some oxtail. I was craving for turtle meat as well. But I allowed myself to wait long. I've only had one plate of oxtail, thankfully, since I've been back. But I allowed myself the time to adjust to it. So when I came back, I was basically on like on high protein stuff, chicken, milk, eggs, and stuff like that.
But you were in the hospital for 7 months. So 4 months of not eating, and then what happened to keep you again over there? What happened?
Yeah, so during my time, October 17th was the main surgery. Sent me back home, go back by air ambulance once again from Cayman to Miami for my second trip. So trying to figure out what's going on with the leakage and stuff like that. So they performed 3 endoscopies on me. They couldn't see because my small intestine was so large from the previous surgery. So they couldn't find a leak. And at this time now, I think it was like around January 2nd, I had my second surgery. Okay. That helped get me to a certain point, but not fully all the way. They have this thing called fistulas. So basically when they cut open my stomach, the fistulas didn't line up correctly and was causing like leakage and stuff under my skin. So I had to go back for a third surgery, which was in February. And that's when things started to turn in the right direction. So all the way from September, when I first heard about first realized I had internal bleeding, up until February, I hadn't gotten any wins. I was getting, what I would say is, I guess, losses. And I kept telling my doctors, like, we just need a win. We just need a win. And it wasn't until just after Valentine's, my cousin Lana comes up, spend some time with me, and I always joke with her and say that she saved me, because right after that I started getting better. I started see things improve. So yeah.
So up until the point where you got the wins again, was there one moment when you said, this isn't going to beat me?
My kids came up to see me just before New Year's. I hadn't seen them since October. Thank goodness for WhatsApp and FaceTime and those kind of things, because it helps keep you connected. But seeing my daughter in person, seeing my son in person, and knowing that I had surgery just 2 days after that, coming up, I was like, I needed that strength. So, thankfully their mom brought them up to see me. And then after that surgery again, my daughter came up, I think in March, and just reminded me of why I'm doing this.
What do you want people to know if they're facing something like this?
Well, I would say, and I'm not going to claim this, but I heard someone say this, or seen someone write about this. Just a reminder that, cancer is a disease none of us asked to have. And you have to remember that you have cancer, cancer doesn't have you. And the early stages, cancer had me mentally. And I realized that talking about it, letting people know my story was kind of my therapy. Everybody deals with things differently. Some people prefer to not say anything. But the way society is these days, I think we're becoming more accepting. And to me, I feel that the more we spread awareness and a knowledge of these things, people will have less fear and more understanding on how to deal with it. So, yeah.
I mean, I watched your progress, and there were times when I would, like you, this guy needs a win.
Yeah.
You know, but I was also inspired where you would do stuff like cancer sucks. That was your tagline, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, so it's funny because even out of something negative, something positive can happen, right? So, again, I was diagnosed with cancer in 2020. By 2021, my best friend Keith and I had formed a band that we started for Carnival for KMAS and Batipiano called Fet for a Cause. The whole idea behind it was to have a carnival band which people can be a part of and support the Cancer Society while bringing awareness to those in the fight, the struggle, the battle against cancer. People who have dealt with it, people who have lost someone as a result of cancer. And each carnival, each year, we continue to grow. And this carnival season was absolutely amazing with the support of the public. And hopefully moving forward, we can continue to grow and spread the awareness. If you were out there this year, chances are you had a good time. You were able to connect with people. And, you know, like I said, me personally, I was there walking through the parade and, you know, had an individual come up to me and like say, hey, you know, I'm dealing with such and such a thing, you know, and, you know, pray for them. And, you know, it connects people in such a unique way. And we can't thank our sponsors enough, AI Rentals and Tortuga, and just everyone effort, all the DJs that they contribute their time as well. So it's a fantastic movement, and I hope to see it grow over the years.
How much money have you guys raised?
Okay, in total, we've raised over $60,000. This last carnival season, we raised over $21,000 between Batipiano and Carnival, KMAS. So, you know, it's growing. It's our goal is to try to hit 100,000 maybe by next year.
And this money goes to the Cancer Society.
Correct. 100% of the proceeds, like everything is donated, and all of the proceeds go towards the Cancer Society.
We're nearly at the end, but I'm cognizant as a civil servant, Cynical covers your medical, but did you ever have to tap into the Cancer Society?
Like we said, I'm a civil servant as well, and thank goodness for Cynical. I could not be happier with our insurance, because without it, I mean, there's so much things you have to struggle with mentally, and when you're, you know, having to deal with cancer, you don't want to have to think about, you know, where my finances are going to come from to pay my bill.
Right.
Cynical has, you know, covered my medical expenses 100%, and I'm forever grateful. That's why, you know, I love my job as it is, and I love it even more because of, you know, the insurance that helped save my life. And your question, no, I have not tapped into anything from Cayman Islands Cancer Society. We've contributed, and this is my way of saying thank you, I guess. You know, basically saying I was able to have help. Now let's see how we can help others.
Wow, Lindbergh. I mean, that is beautiful, because not a lot of people are like that. And as a man, what would you want other men to hear about your health journey and your mental health journey? Because this, like you have said repeatedly, this was a mental game as well. It wasn't just physical.
Yeah, very much of it is mental. 'Cause like I said, you don't get stuck in a hospital bed for 7 months, not being able to see the sunlight, not being able to feel a fresh breeze. Like, I stayed on the floor for 7 months. I didn't go outside.
Wow.
You know, and I would like the men to realize that, you know what, it's okay to get tested. It's okay to get checked. You know, a lot of people delay or put off things. And, you know, I've seen several cases where delay is danger, and people have died from cancer that could have been avoided, you know, especially colon cancer. You know, men over 40, please, you know, go get tested, do a colonoscopy, do some blood work, get a PSA done. That will allow you to know, you know, how your prostate is, whether or not you need to be tested for prostate cancer, and, you know, just give God thanks.
And before we had our interview, you said, you know, this might get me one day, but.
Well, this might get me one day, but. And none of us can live forever. But when I leave this earth, I want to leave behind a legacy of love and not regret.
Thank you. You've been listening to me interview. Sorry, I'm going to quit. Lindbergh, Eden. You've been listening to me interview Lindbergh, Eden.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you for listening to For the Health of It.
When I first started going to Healthcare Pharmacy, it was because it was convenient. But over the years, I continued to shop there because I trusted them. One day I was picking up my prescription, and the pharmacist noticed an over-the-counter medication in my basket. She said, "I hope that's not yours. It will interact with your prescription." And I thought, wow, thank you. Trust is so important when it comes to your health. Healthcare Pharmacy, with 2 locations, Grand Harbor and Governors Square, where they care about my health.
If you or your loved one is facing cancer, only Sylvester will stand firmly by your side at every step, from diagnosis through survivorship, providing you and your family peace of mind and assisting with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center is South Florida's only NCI-designated cancer center and specializes in treating the most complex cancer cases. Your first-class cancer care is just a flight away. Learn more at sylvester.org.
Attention HR managers and business leaders. Want to boost productivity, reduce absenteeism, and show your team that their well-being matters? The Lightroom now offers custom corporate memberships designed to enhance energy and mental clarity, reduce stress, and improve overall health, creating a healthier, more focused workforce. Invest in your team's well-being because a thriving team leads to a thriving business. Visit thelightroom.ky to learn more. It's a new era in wellness.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush. Brought to you by the Health Services Authority. Caring people, quality service. Visit hsa.ky.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. 2 locations, Governors Square and Grand Harbor. Refill and transfer prescriptions online. Call 947-8900 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky. Also brought to you by Cayman Medical Center, Cayman's most awarded private medical clinic.
And UHealth, International University of Miami.
World-class healthcare in the heart of Miami.
The Lightroom, your holistic sanctuary for physical and mental restoration, repair, and rejuvenation. The power that made the body heals the body. 38 Pasadora Place, Georgetown. Find us online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the